Style for Life. I'm Stephanie Rumble, fashion stylist, accountability coach, and your guide to feeling good in your body and your clothes. Based in Christchurch, New Zealand, I bring over 3 decades of experience in fashion, fitness, and wellness to help you feel strong, stylish, and self-assured. Together we'll explore the emotional, physical, and practical sides of style, because true confidence starts from within. No matter your age or size, you deserve to feel confident and show up as the best version of you. I truly believe this. This is Style for Life. Hi everyone, and welcome back to Style for Life. One of the things that I get asked all the time in my styling job is, how do I dress for a wedding? So I'm going to cover that today. But before I do, I want to do, as usual, acknowledge everyone who's listened to last week's podcast, given me feedback, and also made suggestions about podcasts. But this particular topic today is a topic that I know a lot of people think about, a lot of people have questions around. And so I thought it's very apt at the moment as well in New Zealand, because there's a lot of weddings happening. Weddings are typically held in the summer season, which in New Zealand is officially from the 1st of December till the end of February. People do have weddings outside of these times, but there are a lot of weddings happening right now. And I know that a lot of you have probably already bought your outfits, or you might be thinking about your outfits, or just kind of thinking about what the etiquette is around weddings. So I thought I'd just do this episode on weddings, which will be obviously recorded for everybody to look at going forward, but it's also right there for you to listen to now if you are thinking, oh, I need an outfit, how do I dress? So I thought I'd start off by just sort of acknowledging a few things about weddings. So the first thing is, I do have a lot of mother of the brides and mother of the grooms coming to me, and they often feel a bit anxious about what they're going to wear. Now, I just want to acknowledge that, because you know, when you're mother of the bride or groom, you are probably, if you had children young, in your mid-40s through to your mid-60s, right? So you're going to be significantly older than the said child getting married. And for a lot of the guests at the wedding, you will be a little older. And sometimes people come to me and feel a little insecure about that. We're a bit intimidated, or we're a bit overwhelmed, a bit financially stressed out about how much they have to spend. And I've actually had mother of the bride or grooms come to me who have bought tourist dresses already and really not been sure how to go about it. So I'm not just talking about mother of bride or groom here. I'm going to talk about anyone, what to wear to a wedding, but I really want to acknowledge that sometimes it can be tricky if you are in this situation. Also, if you're somebody who doesn't typically dress up and you might be asked to go to a wedding that's quite formal, it can feel a little challenging if you're not sure how to choose the right outfit. So hopefully this debunks some of the myths and gives you some tools and information so that you feel a bit more confident going forward and choosing outfits for weddings. So I'm going to focus mainly on females, but I will give some tips for males as well. So I know that a lot of the time a female might be choosing the outfit for themselves and want their partner, if they're coming with a partner, to coordinate with them. So I'll give some tips for males too. So again, just acknowledging that it can be very exciting choosing an outfit for a wedding, but it can also be intimidating, and it is something that requires a little bit more thought than kind of going out for a drink on a Saturday night in most cases. So I think the biggest take-home tip I have is read the invitation, ascertain what the dress code is. Most weddings state the kind of vibe they want. So they'll say, if they are having a beach wedding, casual vibe, beachy attire. So it's very common and normalized nowadays on a wedding invitation to state the type of wedding we're having. Now, what I am seeing more of nowadays is I'm seeing more young people choosing more formal weddings, which I personally am really excited about. But many people feel really anxious about this, because we don't live in a formal society in New Zealand. We have quite a casual lifestyle. We have quite a casual society. We don't have that many formal occasions generally as a population. We have some. So sometimes people who do have to go to these formal weddings can think, oh, I don't have anything to wear. What am I going to do? How am I going to do this? So let me explain all of the dress codes to you. what the kind of things are that you might be looking for in a dress code, and then we'll talk a little bit about the venues for weddings and how all of it falls together. Then I'm going to give you 13 style tips at the end. So quite a bit in this podcast today. So dress codes, and I have been through these before in another podcast when I've spoken about formal wear, but this particularly is specifically to weddings. So the very most formal wedding dress code is white tie. Now, it's not that common in New Zealand, particularly in the area where I work. I don't think I've ever had a white tie wedding. Just trying to think, maybe the odd one, right? So white tie is the most formal there is. It's floor length evening gowns for a woman. So that's everyone's in evening wear, which again, because our climate is warmer in the summer most of the time, and we like to celebrate that, and we're not a hugely modest society. Floor length evening gowns are not generally something we wear to a wedding, but for white tie, if it says white tie, it means floor length evening gowns, ladies, right? So that's something that you would wear to a very formal occasion. For men, it means tailcoats, vests, and white shirts for men. So that very dressy look. Now, when I think about it, I didn't even really think this through, but when I got married a long time ago, nearly 30 years ago, by the way, when I got married 30 years ago, the men actually did wear tailcoats and vests because it was kind of the trend in the mid-90s, and the woman didn't wear formal gowns. So I don't think we kind of got that quite right. An outdoor venue, it was all a bit of a mismatch. But nowadays, our young people are a lot more onto it. So that's white tie. Less common. What's more common, and I'm seeing a lot of this come through, is black tie. So I was talking about this with a lovely client of mine recently. Her son was having a black tie wedding, him and his wife-to-be, and we got the most amazing outfit for her. It was so gorgeous. So floor-length gowns or formal cocktail dresses or pantsuits for women, so that's slightly longer length. If you're wearing cocktail, it will be that really dressy look. So floor-length gowns, formal cocktail dresses or pantsuits for women. I see pantsuits being quite a nice wedding option. In the middle of the summer in New Zealand, if the weather's playing ball, it can be a bit hot because it can get really hot. So formal dresses or pantsuits for women. Tuxedos with a black bow tie for men. That's the black tie. So we see a lot of this in New Zealand, the black tie. And again, I saw these beautiful wedding photos from a friend of mine. Her daughter and beautiful son-in-law just got married. I've known both of them. They're both rowers actually in one of my squads, or the squads I managed years ago. And they've just got married, and they were actually wearing black and white. Now, I'm personally not that keen on black for a wedding, but it looked amazing. So the bride was obviously in white. So was the groom. How cool was that? Then the bridal parties were in black. The girls were in black. The men were in black and white tuxedos. The whole wedding vibe was formal black tie. They looked sensational. So it was a really nicely done wedding, really nicely styled. They'd really got the vibe right. The whole black-white thing looked really cohesive. Again, you've got to decide what you want. A lot of people do go for colour for bridesmaids. If you do that, that's a whole different podcast, how to dress a bridesmaid as well. But yeah, that's black tie. Semi-formal is the third type of dress code. This is knee-length dresses for women or dressy suits. It's a suit or a tailored sports coat and trousers for men. Okay, so semi-formal is cocktail dresses for women or dressy suits or tailored sports coats and slacks for men. So that's semi-formal. We see lots of that for weddings as well. That's a very common wedding theme in New Zealand. And then we have the casual wedding. Sundresses, midi skirts, dressy blouses for women, chinos, dress pants and button-down shirts for men. We avoid jeans, t-shirts and shorts for weddings, please. Please, let's avoid those. And that's really avoided across all dress codes. So just to reiterate, white tie, black tie, semi-formal and casual tend to be what you would say on a wedding invitation. And I was just speaking to a client previous to recording this podcast, telling her what I was doing today. And she said, oh, can you wear black to a wedding? And I said, well, it depends a little on the dress code. So if it's a semi-formal or a casual wedding, probably most people don't wear black to weddings. However, it was a semi-formal wedding. I think it might have been a black tie actually. She wore an evening gown off the shoulder and she looks lovely in black and she felt great in it. So it was perfect for her. However, if someone was asking me, I'd say there's lots of other things to take into consideration before you make that decision. So another thing to think about, so we've looked at the type of dress codes, is what is the season And where is the wedding happening? So these are the kind of questions I'll always ask anyone who comes to me with some help, wanting some help for wedding attire. So the kind of locations we might have for a wedding might be summer beach. So you might be getting married at the beach, and there's people I know who've gone to Fiji or Rarotonga or another island or even just a lovely warm beach in New Zealand, and they have been married there. And that has been a very different vibe to something indoors or something that's very formal. So summer beach wedding, you might want lightweight fabrics like linen, silk, chiffon, something a little more casual for the men. So that's the summer beach wedding. Now, it could be summer formal. So you have to kind of navigate both. Winter wedding, you're going to be looking at heavier fabrics. So you might be looking at velvet, brocades. You might be looking at a woolen suit of some description, something long sleeve. You're definitely going to need something long sleeved. You might have closed toe shoes. You might need pantyhose. All of that is to be taken into consideration. And most of the time in New Zealand, there's not as many weddings in winter because it's quite cold. However, if you are going to a wedding in winter, consider again the type of level of formality and where the wedding actually is. So if it's a winter wedding, if it's a garden or an outdoor wedding, you might actually find that you need to take, obviously in New Zealand, we often need to take that third piece, like I'm wearing a cardigan today because it's too cold, or it gets cooler in the evening, especially in the South Island. In the north, it's not so bad. So if it's a garden or an outdoor wedding, what is that vibe? Do you want to wear something a little bit brighter? Do you want to wear something a bit more floral? All of the things that might vibe with that outdoor wedding. If it's not in a garden, if it's somewhere else that's outdoors, it's not a beach, it might be at a lovely outdoor venue. What's the vibe of that? I saw a beautiful wedding venue here in Christchurch called Mona Vale. I was there a few months ago with my mother, just having a walk around and having a cup of tea. And I saw a beautiful outdoor wedding going on. So it was, I suppose, Mona Vale is a garden, so same sort of thing, but it wasn't in a private house. It was had a beautiful stream and a nice vibe. So yeah, what is the vibe? What is the outdoor setting? People sometimes get married at, say, wildlife parks. No, like, I'm not suggesting everyone wears leopard print to that. just to keep in mind what the vibe actually is of where you're going and where it is. Those things all have a very big impact on the kind of outfit that you would choose as well. So when you get the invitation, first of all, where is the wedding? What is the dress code? First two things I would ask somebody when they come in. So we've kind of traversed that. Then there's a whole lot of things to take into consideration. The next thing I would ask is, do you know what the bridal party is wearing? Have you ever wondered how you can be a fashion stylist with access to premium digital styling products? Do you want to be trained by the best in the industry and access these products that reflect fashion styling in 2025? If you do, then Image Innovators is absolutely the choice for you. This is because they have a network of over 1,000 trained fashion stylists worldwide, and you know when you work with them, you're getting the best of the best. They have evidence-based professional training offered by highly skilled facilitators that help you reach your absolute potential. This is a great alignment with Style for Life, as I in my business have used and endorsed their products for over 10 years with so many happy clients. And I'm really excited to say I'm also offering training to fashion stylists in conjunction with Image Innovators. So if you're ready to start your fashion styling training journey, then use the code BRIGHTRED25 for 10% off all products. So the very first question is, and I was talking to the mother of the beautiful bride and groom who wore the black and white, and she knew they were wearing black and white. So then she wouldn't, and you never wear white to a wedding. She wouldn't wear either of those colours because she'd look like the bridal party. So as mother of the bride and groom, and I'm just going to talk about this a little bit first. So if you are mother of the bridal groom, it's really important that you choose something that complements the bridal party because you're going to be in heaps and heaps of photos. So you need to think, what am I going to wear that's going to look nice in these photos for the rest of time? Because wedding photos are one of the most survived photos of all photos. Everyone keeps their wedding photos, even if other photos go. And they often have hard copies of them too. So they survive generations. Whereas I'm not sure how digital photos will go with generations. That's an interesting thought, right? So think about, as mother of the bridal groom, exactly what that bridal party is doing. And so I will often ask if the bridal party is wearing a particular colour. So say, for example, I'm just trying to think of a recent wedding I worked with. I think the bridal party might have been wearing pink, for example. So I said to her, okay, well, look, we're not going to put you in pink because it would just not look good. You know, an older woman in pink with all the younger bridesmaids, no. So we were like, let's look at something that's going to look cohesive with the bridal party. We also ascertained that the men were going to be wearing, I think they were wearing black trousers and some kind of shirt, maybe a white shirt or blue shirt, I can't remember exactly what it was. Anyway, it was a combination that kind of we started to consider. And then obviously the bride was wearing white, and we talked about what the groom was wearing. And so we chose her this dress. We went to Juliet Hogan, actually, who is a New Zealand designer. So Juliet Hogan's a New Zealand designer. And she did a great range this summer with a black background with all these flowers all over it. I've actually worn the piece myself. I bought a two-piece outfit. It wasn't for a wedding. It was just a two-piece top and trousers. And she did it in all sorts of other styles too. And this particular client bought the dress. This was a curvy client. I've shopped with her a lot. She's probably a size 16 to 18. She looked so good in this dress. And it had a black background, which she doesn't wear a lot of black, but it looked fantastic because all of the colours were bright and the pink was in the dress. So that meant that when she put the dress on, she looked fantastic because she was kind of a floral version pulling together all of the rest of the bridal party. So it's kind of it's about being strategic about how you choose your outfit when you're the mog or the mob, mother of the groom or mother of the bride, and how you're going to fit in with the rest of that bridal party. Now, sometimes there's also another person involved, or there will be. That's generally the father of the bride or the groom. And they will also be in wedding photos too. So it's about getting them to coordinate with you and to coordinate with the bridal party too. So colour's really important. So thinking about those colours, again, choosing them for your partner, if you're with your partner and helping that decision-making process, or if you are the father of any of these particular of the groom or the bride, then thinking about that for you as well, if that's something that you're into thinking about. So really important to think hard and long and know the colours of that bridal party. Another interesting thing to add here is I've done some work helping bridal parties choose their colours and their outfits, and it's a really tricky one. It's tricky because often the bridesmaids particularly are very fussy about what they wear, and this is often related to their body image. And as a society in New Zealand, we're not as comfortable with wearing colour. So one of the things I always suggest with a bridal party is have the colours done. We have about 16 universal colours in our colour analysis process. And this is so useful when you're choosing bridesmaids' dresses because there's 16 colours that look great on every skin tone. So again, if you're struggling with that, that might be something to think about when you're at that planning stage, if you're listening and you're somebody who's involved in the planning stage of the bridal party. And then getting the groomsmen and the men to coordinate with the woman. And if you're in a same-sex marriage, thinking about how you guys coordinate and how your particular attendants are going to coordinate with you as well. Sometimes it's really nice if it's a same-sex marriage to think about wearing something complementary. One wears black, one wears white. One wears white, one wears something else. I don't know. It just depends on your vibe. I've seen some great same-sex men's weddings where one groom wears white and one wears black, and they've got black jacket on, white jacket, and then white pants, black jacket, black pants. Do you get it? So it just looked really good. It was really well coordinated. So there's lots of things you can do to look really well put together if you think it out. If you want help with that, let me know. So let's look at the 13 style tips I have to help you choose things for a wedding. So the first thing to do, if you're a guest or you're not the bride, avoid white or cream or ivory or vanilla or anything else that might be construed in the slightest bit like white, unless the bride is not wearing white. Now, if the bride's not wearing white and you choose to wear a white bridal-like gown, people might mistake you as the bride. So just think that one through. Yeah, really careful decision making around white at a wedding, particularly for anyone female. Yeah, so avoid that. That's a fashion faux pas when it comes to a wedding. The next thing is, and I've said this already, is check the invitation. So see what the invitation says about what you need to wear and what the dress code actually is. So it will often state, and if it doesn't, and you're not sure, it's worth reaching back out to the bride and groom and saying, look, just clarifying the dress code, want to get this right. And they will often come back to you and tell you what they're thinking if it's not super clear. So really, really check that invitation so that you are on the same page as them and that you're actually fitting in with everyone else. Because a wedding wants to be a celebration. You want to see like a fiesta of colour. There's lots of photos being taken. There's lots of positivity. It's a really amazing, great place to be and go. So if you're invited, it's such a privilege. So I really want to say on that, checking the invitation, make sure that you respect the occasion by dressing for it. And that's something that I often say, think about where you're going and what level of respect do you have for the people that you have invited you. And it's a privilege to go to a wedding. It's expensive to hold a wedding. It's expensive to have guests at a wedding. So if you've been invited, lucky you. And if you're part of the whānau family of the bridal party, then that's awesome as well. But you just need to keep that dress code right. Number 3 is be comfortable. Now, again, I'm not talking about so comfortable that you're slopping around in your tracksuit pants, as you know, but I'm thinking about, if something's too tight. And I have a lot of people who come to me who want to wear shapewear underneath their clothing for a wedding. And of course, I understand that. You want to feel your best. And also, might want a smooth line on a garment. And I fully understand that. But just be aware that you want to be comfortable. So if the shapewear makes you feel like a sausage squeezed into skin, it might just be worth getting something that fits differently so you don't have to wear it if that's going to make you uncomfortable too. So thinking about comfort too, thinking about making sure that you haven't got too many things exposed that shouldn't be exposed. You're not going to have straps that slip down. You're not going to be too hot. I know that for men, it's this odd situation we have in the West where the men wear suits and jackets and ties and shirts and socks and shoes and trousers, long sleeve shirts, and it's 28 degrees or 30 degrees Celsius, and the women are wearing a sundress. So we want to be really thinking about whether we're comfortable or not. And one of the things my husband often has said about weddings is, I'm so hot. Wearing all this makes me feel so hot. So it's about finding that balance between not being too hot or too cold, thinking about the climate, looking at the weather forecast. I would check the weather in advance so you know what the weather's going to do, so you know that the outfit you've got is going to be appropriate and you're going to be comfortable. So being comfortable in your clothes is really important, and that's also your shoes, and we'll come to that in a minute. Okay, so the next one is avoid over the top. This is number 4. So over the top is neon, extremely out there clothes, or something that exposes the cleavage or too much of the leg. A wedding is a respectful environment. It's a place where sometimes modesty is required because you might be going into a church or you might be going into somewhere where it's not appropriate to wear a whole lot of exposing garments. So just think about whether something is over the top, whether you're exposing parts of the body you wouldn't normally expose. So too much boob, too much leg, all of that could be considered over the top as well. Also, if you're wearing something that's extremely full on, that just might be inappropriate too. This next one, number 5, is interesting because it's not a conflict with the point before, but it's an interesting paradox here. So being overdressed for a wedding is actually better than being underdressed. So being overdressed, that means not over the top, but wearing something more formal than you would usually wear is more appropriate. You've got to think a little bit about formal. So shiny formal ball dress is possibly, if it's a black tie event, you're 100% on task. If it's cocktail, you're probably better in that than you would be in something like a sundress. So just think that overdress is slightly better when you are going to a wedding of any description. So it's an occasion where you can dress up. It's an occasion where you get permission to wear something really lovely, something that's a little bit special, and something that you might not normally wear every day. So take that opportunity. So overdressed is better, number 5. Number 6 is hat or not. Look, honestly, it's about the dress code and whether the wedding's outdoors or not. A titty little fitty little fascinator sitting here that sticks up like this on a middle-aged woman can look so bad, right? So don't get something that, I'm just trying to think, I've got a lovely flower here, like it's really cute, but like, if I just wear a fascinator, I'm the only one, is that going to look weird And again, is it just a little ploppy thing on the side of your head? Either a hat or a proper fascinator, and proper fascinators are mainly for the races. And in New Zealand, we don't really wear a lot of hats to weddings. Sometimes people do if it's outdoors and you need it for sun protection. So just think about that. And then again, you want a stylish sun hat, not your old gardening one you usually wear. So I'm not a huge fan of hats at weddings. In the UK, they do have them a wee bit more. But in New Zealand, it's not really a thing, especially those horrible little fascinators worn by middle-aged women. Just be careful of those. And again, if you want to wear a piece of headwear, have a think about what it looks like and whether it really ties and enhances your outfit or it's just sort of stuck on there. Okay, if you're mother of the groom or the bride, I've said this already, make sure you know what the wedding party's wearing and you aim to fit in. Photos are forever. The second most looked at person at a wedding after the bride is the mother of the bride. How does that feel? Again, if you're a guest at a wedding, stay away from the bridal party colours. We've talked about that already, so that's really important if you're a guest. Number 9 is seasonal considerations. So consider again, and we touched on this earlier, is it summer, is it autumn, is it spring, is it winter? What do you need to wear so that you are actually fitting in with the wedding and you're comfortable as well? Number 10, always have something to cover your shoulders. Now, this is because you might be in a church if someone's getting married in a religious church. It's appropriate to have your shoulders covered. I'm not talking a big coat in the middle of summer, just it might be a light shawl or a scarf you can just wrap around, and when you get to the venue, you can get rid of it. Yes, so think about something to cover the shoulders in that instance if there's a church wedding or if you know that it might be a little bit more religious than you're used to. Number 11 is don't try and be the star of the show. You're not the bride. If you're the bride, then that is fine. You want to be the star of the show. So don't need to have everything really extra. You just want to look nice. You want to look well put together, be respectful, but you don't have to be the star of the show. It's not your place to do that. It's your place to be there to celebrate the beautiful couple that are getting married. Number 12, save your ripped clothing for another occasion. So if you have something ripped, it is just a big no-no for a wedding. The other thing, which I haven't added, we might make it 14 style points, I've got 2 more, is make sure your outfit all works together. So how does your lipstick connect with your clothes, connect with your shoes, connect with your cardigan or jersey, connect with your jewellery? So today, for example, I'm not dressed for a wedding, I'm dressed for a podcast, but I'm wearing a dress from Silk Laundry. It's peach and cream and it has some red pieces in it. I've got a red necklace to pull it out. I'm wearing a peach cardigan, and my shoes, which you can't actually see because I'm standing doing the podcast, I'll try and stand back. My shoes are gold and they kind of work with the outfit. Sorry, I don't want to flash at you, but they work with the outfit too. So can you get everything put together? Think about your handbag. Think about your sunglasses if you're outside. Does everything fit together? Is it stylish? Do you feel put together? Do you feel like it all connects? Because when it all connects, you're going to feel so much better. And number 14 is choose your shoes strategically. If you're at an outdoor wedding, you don't want stilettos because they sink into the earth. So you can actually get a heel goblet. What are they called? I can't remember the name of them. But those stiletto things you can stick on the bottom of your shoes, which make this, they have like a circular bit at the bottom and a wee tube. You stick on the stilettos so you don't sink into the grass. We've worn them to the races before. So if you have got thin-heeled shoes, that might not be appropriate if it's an outdoor wedding. If you are wearing something that you haven't worn before that's really high, that looks great with your outfit, but feels really uncomfortable, then that's not going to be good. You won't be comfortable and you'll be distracted. So choose your shoes strategically and make sure that you've got something that you've worn before or you know is going to be comfortable because it's a brand or a style that's actually you're familiar with. So just be really careful of that. Otherwise you'll be in misery. And it's actually really uncool to take your shoes off at a wedding. It's super, super uncool and really not appropriate. You need to keep yourself together. It's an occasion where you're paying respect to the bride and groom, or the groom and groom, or the bride and bride, to the bridal party. You're paying respect to the people getting married by dressing appropriately, keeping your shoes on, behaving well, and having a great time and celebrating them. So I hope that's been useful. That has just whizzed by just like that. So that was all about what to wear to a wedding as a member of the bridal party, which could be a mother of the bride or groom, or specifically as a guest. I hope that's been helpful. Feel free to leave some comments, ask me any questions you'd like to. If you'd like to book in for a consultation for what you might like to wear for a wedding, do let me know. And again, I really appreciate you all listening. Feel free to follow me on socials, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, TikTok, and YouTube. Kia kaha, everybody, and have a wonderful January. Thank you for listening to the Style for Life podcast. Don't forget, you deserve to feel fabulous at every age, every stage, and at every size. If you're loving the show, hit subscribe and leave a review. It helps more amazing people like you find their way back to life through style. Thanks again. Until next time.